Your problem is you think being talented or skilled is enough. But if skill guaranteed success, then most of the talented people you know should be rich, they should be fulfilled, and they should be in demand. But most of them aren't because skill without leverage is a liability. I'm sure you've seen it. Someone with half the talent getting twice the attention, twice the results, and 10 times the impact. And if you think about it really well, you realize that the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be has less to do with talent and more to do with traction. And traction, I don't mean noise. I don't mean doing whatever it takes to be out there. I'm talking about collaboration. I'm talking about systems. I'm talking about the right stories, things that actually move the needle. And the hard truth here is that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work smart. Because if everyone is talented and trying to put themselves out there, it's great. But if you're hardworking, if you're talented and you still feel invisible, you're probably stuck in the skill trap. So today I want to talk to you about why the obsession with constantly learning something new isn't what is holding you back. It most likely is that you are not using what you already know. Now, this is something that I've constantly been thinking about over the past couple of months because I've been actively mentoring creatives who are very skilled. I'm talking about photographers, writers, UX designers, all sort of people. And something very similar to most of them is that they're broke, they're mostly burnt out, and their work is invisible. And I realized that there is really nothing else they needed. They didn't need another course. They didn't need a self-help book or something out of the box. No, what they really needed is amplification. I'm talking about leverage, how to get what they currently know, what they have, and make it something that is out there, you know? And in my experience, you don't scale by adding weight. And if I'm being truthful with you, the only way to scale is by increasing your reach and your positioning. So don't get me wrong. I'm very interested in giving you the right guidance to help you rethink things and make you see things differently. But if I'll tell you the most simple truth ever, skills are just input. It doesn't really do much. The real work is leverage because leverage is impact. Now, if I would break this down in a way that feels digestible for you, because I know we live in a fast-paced world, and the way I've been putting together this series is just something simple for you to digest, and it can require you to sit still for a couple of minutes. But then three key pillars that I believe will really help you understand why this is a problem and what to do differently is first to amplify. By amplifying, I'm talking about using storytelling, personal branding, things that gives visibility. How do you tell a story that is compelling enough about something that feels very disinteresting and still get people to sit and listen and want to learn more from you or want to buy from you eventually? The second is to systemize. What can you put together like a structure, systems, things that are not just output based, How can you productize your knowledge? How can you turn things that don't seem practical into things that are repeatable? It's not every time you have to reinvent the wheel. You can start with the most basic level of clarity and build over time to get to a place where you desperately want to be. And the third is scale. How do you multiply impact? And the best ways is to do it through storytelling, through distribution, and a level of trust. I'm talking about compounding trust in a way that someone listens to you and is like, I'm so glad I listened to you. Every time I listen to you, something changes, something new happens. I get this a couple of times and it just encourages me that I'm doing something worthwhile, something that has been able to change a life and potentially has the ability to scale. So look around you. The people making the biggest impact aren't always the most skilled, but they've built systems, they've built platforms, and their positioning allows them to amplify what they are good at. Think about someone like Alex Omoze. He's brilliant, no doubt about that. But what made him unstoppable was distribution. Think about Beyonce. She wasn't just talented. She has a machine behind her that turns every song into a movement. And I can't do this without talking about Apple. Apple doesn't win just on features. It wins on experience, on brand, and on trust. So how can you learn from these people? How can you put these things together to give you good results? Because you don't rise to the level of your skills, you rise to the level of your leverage. So if you're trying to out talent everyone, you're trying to use talent to get everyone to bow to you, or you're trying to just show everybody that you're skilled and you know all the good things, there are people out there creating systems that are making you obsolete. So if you're in that place right now, you're playing the wrong game. I remember when I first decided to go all out with the things I'm doing right now. I just quit architecture and I was pacing myself to try and get to a place where it's not so difficult to, you know, put myself out there. But it was hard. I was in a saturated market, even as far back as 2018. But then from my experience with learning more about design and branding, I realized that I think I need to tell stories and share experiences about what I'm doing. A lot of the times we prioritize sharing your success story, but then your progress story is a lot more important in capturing your audience, bringing people together to see the work you're doing. That is where leverage starts from. Win people over. Let them know that they can trust you enough to sit with you. And for me, the turning point came when I started to really see deeper into what really brings people together. Number one is storytelling. Number two is experiences. And number three, how can you put them in your story? There was a time I made a tweet that went viral. And the whole idea of this tweet was just talking about the fact that I don't think people should prioritize monetizing everything. Pick just one thing and then build on it. That particular thing you pick, how can you build everything around this one thing? Yes, you're good at it. You have the skills and you have the talent. But what really sets you apart is if you can tell a good story around it, if you can make people trust you enough to make them say, man, I've never heard of it that way. I've never thought of it that way. I didn't even think this could be applied in this particular light. What change, what transformation can you bring to people, even though you're doing something that feels very disinteresting? And just like the trend with this, talks I do with you, I want to actually help you reanalyze things. And we'll do some level of practical in a way, just to make you see that what I'm talking about is not just fluff. It's not just something that you just brush to the side. It is something that if you implement it, you would see good results. So first, let's look at this. Let's look at it this way. Is there a way to audit your skills and know which one you can push to the front and make your one thing? And from that one thing, you can work on it to get your first 100 loyal fans or loyal customers and eventually end up getting paid for your brilliance. One of the key things I see with a lot of creative minds, people who are skilled and talented, is there is this chasm, there is this large gap of skill and impact. It's so far apart that I don't know, I'm speaking about this with so much pain in my heart because I've been there. It has happened to me over and over again. I've been in a place where I knew how to do a lot of things. People called me jack of all trades, but one thing constantly was a problem. I wasn't earning enough from the skills that I have, and I decided to build a system around it. I built a system which I've turned into Amplify and Skill, and it basically helps you go in less than 6 months, turn one skill into something that can be profitable without you burning out. And I've had a couple of people try it out and giving me good feedback that, Dim, this is really good. Thank you so much for putting this together. But I'm making it my life's work right now to share these things with you in a way that feels genuine. Coming to you as someone who has been there and showing you or holding you by the hand and walking you through it, provided that you take it seriously and implement. So Audit your skills. That's the first thing you need to do. Audit your skills. And you can start by asking yourself, what can I package? What can I publish? Or what can I productize today? Just one thing. Don't make the mistake of picking 5 things. One thing. Something you can publicize, something you can package, you can publish, and it becomes an entity on its own. It leaves being just a skill. It becomes an entity, a product, something that has life of its own, that without you, it is working. And then next step is to now think about it and do something that I've termed as building your Amplify stack. The first is, what platforms can you use? Where can you show up? It's very important. The next is, how do you position yourself? What are you going to be known for? These are basics of branding. And then the third one is pathway. How can people work with you? How can you collaborate with people? How can you let them see that there is gold in what I'm bringing to your table? I'm going to round up in a bit, but I want to make you see something that I feel like most people don't see often, and is that you don't need to do more to matter. You just need to align what you know with where you're going. And this gives you a voice, it gives you a system and a strategy. So it's important for you to start today. When you're starting today, fix your mindset. Because if you constantly think being skilled or talented is enough, I'm sorry, you're not going anywhere. And that's the truth. It's something that most people don't tell you, but it's the truth. People would be like, go all out, show up, do this, do that. But they don't really tell you the part that really isn't sweet. The fact that you can't do it by yourself. By skill or talent alone, nothing moves the needle. You need people, you need systems, you need a story that captivates people, that makes them understand why this thing is the way it is. Start with why. Read the brand gap. Read the purple cow. These are things that would open your mind to see that there is more to what I'm talking about. And if at all you really want something that helps you understand how to find that skill that you should be going all out with, I recommend reading this book. It is Ikigai. That's the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. I read this a number of years ago, and it just changed my perspective about what to do in my life. Why skill is not just everything. What can I pick that stands in the intersection of my life, my work, everything really. And then it becomes something that gives me joy and peace. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm excited that I get to sit with you like this and tell you these things without really dramatizing it or making it into something that gets you, I don't know. I'm just glad that you're here, and I'll see you soon.